Hello, welcome to another episode of Hollywood 97, where we discuss who's the better boxer, Rocky Balboa or Jake LaMotta. I'm your host, X-Man.
Phantom Magic.
Ram Proxy.
Reaper C. Reaper C.
North Ronan.
And we got a guest star today. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, I'm Jacob Bailey.
All right, and so we're doing something new today. We instead of reviewing an old movie, we're reviewing a new movie, a recent movie, a movie that was directed by Zack Snyder. It has been hyped up for a while. It's his long-awaited vision. It is very much his magnum opus. Yes, we are talking about Army of the Dead, the new movie on Netflix. So why don't we just get into it?
Jesus
What do you guys thought of
Christ.
the movie?
I didn't like this movie at all.
Fun, but
I did not care for it. I just remember there were three issues I had with it. The first one
Three?
being three major issues at the very beginning part. Like Rick and Morty, after watching that heist episode, it just ruined it. Like any heist movie for me, because as they're going through the recruitment phase and they're going through like each person, I just kept thinking of the same episode. I'm like, oh, this is garbage.
I mean,
Yeah.
heist movies have never been my favorite film, especially the Ocean 11 film, because they're literally just all the same movie, whether they be George Clooney or Frank Sinatra. So
Like,
that's the thing. Oh, and by the way, one more thing. Spoilers. All right, let's keep going.
all right. So,
All right. So
oh, you can go first, Phantom.
okay. So overall, yeah, it's a very generic movie, but I will say it had a lot of. I will admit, like I was kind of surprised it did have, like when it came to like the actual I guess like zombie aspects, there were actually some interesting ideas in my opinion.
I agree. I agree.
Like I actually like that. I actually thought it was really cool the fact that like like I guess like the leader has like I guess a queen and they're actually about to have a baby. Like that's something I've actually. Now again,
I
I'm no
totally did not pay attention to that part at all. I did not know.
I'm honestly
I
I'm,
did.
Yeah,
I
they
did.
didn't give us much chance to pay attention to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you gotta look
We saw
closer.
all of the. We saw for all of a minute that there is in fact a zombie baby.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have to pay close attention in order to spot it, but continuing. Actually, you go ahead and finish, Phantom.
Okay, so like, well, the first major hint is like when he's like leaning his like head to the stomach,
Yeah.
basically listening to like the I guess like the sound of the baby.
Yeah.
And then there's that one scene where he actually like after the queen gets decapitated, he basically rips the baby out of the body to see if it's like alive or not, and it's not, it's dead.
Oh.
And that's what causes him to be furious and try to kill
And
the
house.
and rally the other zombies together. And let me tell.
And another thing I love about the head zombie is when he does go for attack, he actually wears a like metal mask to
I
protect
love that.
his own head. I thought that was like whoa. I was like, so this zombie is actually really smart. Like
Yeah.
he knows his weakness.
No, I thought that was the only so I just want to talk about zombies in general real quick. Zombies is an over. Now I have loved zombies for a long time. I haven't watched a lot of zombie movies, but I love zombie video games. I play Call of Duty Zombies. I played DayZ. I played State of Decay. I played Dead Rising.
Actually, that's
yeah.
what I want to bring up. I don't mean to cut you off, man, Foxy, but this movie just felt like a version of Dead Rising, which is also set in Vegas.
Sort of. The thing with Dead Rising is, at least now I've only ever played 1 and 2. I haven't played 3 and 4. But in Dead Rising 1 and 2, it's more about killing zombies rather than it is about the characters. And this movie is about killing zombies, and it can be cool, but at the same time I've seen it done so many times that it's not even fun to watch anymore, first off. And second of all, it's just like they're trying to make these characters so deep when they're okay. This is our
I
cast.
don't think they are though.
Huh?
I
Yeah,
don't
I don't
think they are
That's
though,
what I'm
because
saying,
they
yeah.
have such a large cast,
Hmm.
and they focused on too many people. I honestly think either Dave Bautista or Omari Hardwick should have been the sole protagonist.
That's
Like,
actually a good idea.
I think
yeah.
I think
Either they switch
the character
places.
that should have been the protagonist was
Because,
probably the coyote. They call it. I forgot her actual name, but like the blonde haired chick.
Oh, her, the
Nora-
French
Yeah,
chick,
it would've
the
worked.
French
Mainly
chick.
because like
yes,
okay, another
Lily had the
Oh,
most
okay.
mystery about her.
Not only did she
She
have
was
the most,
clearly the most.
go ahead.
She was clearly the most capable.
Not just the most capable, but also the most experienced.
Well, we can't forget the fact that the beginning of the movie starts off with I think it was Dave Bautista and another set of
Yeah.
people that were leaving this apocalypse situation. And to say that she's more experienced, I think it's just two different sides of the coin. I think with Dave's
That's
character,
awesome.
Scott Ward, he's seen it from the very
Specifically with
beginning, and now Nora has it from a completely different set. There's also a problem in and of itself with how Zach kind of opens the movie. We have this
You know,
great
that
scene where we have this big, roid raging zombie, kill everyone. He goes to Las Vegas. We see the streets are filled with zombies. The military is overrun. People are dying. And then we finally, after like 30 minutes, get to Las Vegas and it's empty.
yeah.
I want to talk
Yeah,
about
they
the.
men-
Sorry.
They
Go ahead.
mentioned the. Yeah, Lily mentions that the Shamblers, all the slow ones on the outskirts of the city in the massive horde, dried out due to the sun, and that they come back to life when it rains.
Like,
I mean, it makes sense that there are hordes, but also the fact that that most of their larger numbers are organized inside the buildings, because the stronger alpha roid rage zombies,
Yeah.
they can kind of signal the others and communicate.
Well, one thing that I actually want to say, I love that they have their own culture. That was interesting, and I wish they focused on that. Why did they not focus on that? That should have been a main focus. I don't know why they didn't focus on that.
No, one other scene I actually really did like with the movie is the trade scene, where basically Coyote shoots the douchebag guy, and then
Yeah.
feed him, and it's like, here, this is our trade. This way we can go through. Like,
That
I think
was cool. That was cool.
really clever. It kind of like has like this like zombies being like a tribal thing, which I really, especially because like so.
It's a great idea to develop a more intelligent horror narrative
Yeah.
for
Like,
a zombie movie. It makes them more of almost a supernatural threat that you need to make a sacrifice to them. And it was almost more hair-raising to see that they didn't kill him right away. He was saying just do it because he knows he's going to die. It makes it a more foreboding threat for them to do it like that. And also, it was their opportunity to show that they are intelligent. They like to dine in. They take their food indoors.
Again, not only the fact that they're intelligent, but they have an actual culture. The zombies
hierarchy, yeah.
have an actual culture and probably even a language. So I don't understand why we're focusing on these boring ass characters. This doesn't feel like it should be. This doesn't feel like it should be an action flick or, well, yeah, an apocalypse flick. But why does it feel like a heist flick? It should be a horror movie. I hate that I was looking at this movie. I was like, hey, look, something I've never seen before. Zombie culture. Zombie doing something interesting. Why are they doing this? This is really stupid. And can I just say one more thing completely unrelated to this? This all started because a man got a blowjob while he was driving.
And I wanna talk about something Bailey brought up, which is the opening. Now, I
Yep.
mean, here's the thing: the opening, all right, the whole movie is way too fucking long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
I
it
two
agree. I
is.
hours.
absolutely agree.
It is
Yeah.
This
2 hours.
movie is nothing but
It is
fluff.
it is 2 hours and 30 minutes. You know, I feel like that's a really bad sign for a movie with a premise as simple as that. That should only
Yeah.
just for a premise that's only an hour and a half. It's stretched out to 2 hours and 30 minutes. Like I was just dreading because the reason why I kept putting the movie off so much this week was because of how long it was.
Yeah.
And like the opening credit is way too long. I almost stopped paying attention. I couldn't even pay attention to the
Oh my lord, my Discord keeps
actual
cutting out.
credit. And also the typography. I don't know if most of you guys typography. I don't know if you guys are graphic designers, but like the typography was fucking terrible. You can't even make out what half the credit was saying because they used that font that was too blended into the background.
Honestly, there were a
Like
lot of
Movies are
parts in the movie where
artistry, Zack Snyder.
there were a lot of parts
And-
of the movie where I just stopped paying attention. Like seriously.
also, can we just talk about
Because it would be justified 2 hours if you had enough happen.
can we also just
You
talk
can
about
justify it if
I
you
think-
fill out the time with extra scenes, but they just made those scenes longer, scenes that didn't need that length.
Yeah, like okay,
I think we should also just talk about the elephant in the room, and that is director Zack Snyder himself.
okay,
Now, we're probably
Wait, I
gonna-
thought you were talking about the digitally altered elephant, digitally altered out of the room, Chris D'Elia.
Oh yeah,
Uh.
that's actually in my notes. I have that's how much I did not like this movie. I have literally 4 pages of notes.
Wow.
I have
And
never
and
made
half of it
notes for a
is Zack Snyder.
podcast. This is the first time I made notes for a podcast. I hated this.
Let's point out that Zack Snyder had already made a zombie movie. That was his debut film. If you guys don't know, it was the remake of Dawn of the Dead, which was also written by Guardians of the Galaxy fame James Gunn. And really, I like this movie better than the Dawn of the Dead remake, but because it felt like an original idea. The Dawn of the Dead remake was only good for like the first 20 minutes.
It feels like he does a lot of remakes and other sorts of things, and he's just making bad movies less bad.
Zack Snyder, I feel like Zack Snyder is more care about the visuals. Like to me, he's a director that's more into the spectacle of a movie. Like, oh, would it be cool if Batman stabbed Superman with a kryptonite spear? Which is not a bad idea in itself, but when
For a comic book movie, that's exactly how you need to think. And I mean, granted, for a zombie movie, you could say that too. However, he is, focused more on style over substance. That's his
I don't
whole.
think
You can get a good feel for a movie, but in terms of narrative, that's where he falls short.
I don't think the spectacle is a bad thing in itself, but I think it becomes more problematic when he adapts. And this is a little off topic, but when he adapts like already existing stories, like movies like Watchmen and 300, where it seems like he really only cared about the spectacles rather than what the story's going on, because that's where it becomes problematic. When you see, I don't mean to get totally off topic, but and this is not against Zack Snyder himself, but the far right loves Zack Snyder because they like how he's done Rorschach and the Spartans from 300, and it's like you're not really supposed to like any of those characters, but the way Zack Snyder frames those characters as being cool and badass and not what they really were meant to be is problematic. That's my 2 cents there.
I mean, I don't know if that was really his intent, to be honest, but
I think one of the difficulties, especially when it comes to this movie, was like we've been talking about, Zack Snyder likes to do spectacle, and every
Right.
single movie needs some spectacle, because if you don't have that, it's a boring movie or it's a character study. But
Right.
the thing is that with Army of the Dead, it feels as though Zach is sacrificing characters and potential, motivations or really intense character scenes to shoot gun or to have all these dried up corpses. And what happens is now we're shifting the genre of the movie. We went from the beginning of a horror movie with the intro and literally massive swarms to an action film and a suspense thriller with sending the guy off with the zombie, and then we get into a comedy when they get to the safe, and I forgot his name's character, the guy that was with the safecracker all the time.
Yeah, Dieter, the German
Dieter.
guy.
Yeah, no, not Dieter though.
Oh,
The guy,
the
guy with
the
him.
black dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
what was
forgot
his name?
I forgot his name.
What was somebody said it?
Names
What was
don't matter. His name was just like Chainsaw or something, or Buzzsaw.
Yeah.
But it's like it turns
But
into
you
a
didn't
comedy
use it
where
in-
Dieter says, yes, there are traps. And he goes, all right, I'll figure this out. And he goes to gets these zombies. It does like a little funny walk. It looks around like and it gets smashed. It's just like, what am I watching? I'm not
changes
no
the
horror movie
tone.
anymore.
Yeah, it changes tone multiple times too, because even the intro feels kind of like comedic at first, like especially like the scene where like I thought it was like either I don't know if it was like intentionally funny or not. The scene where like the parachute guy is like going down and he's shooting, and then it's like, oh, it's pointless because he's shooting down like such a massive horde. It's like what's even the point of shooting them?
Also,
I mean, that's a moment of really dark comedy that you can get away with if you frame it the right way. I think that was actually kind of successful. That was very difficult yet comedic.
also,
But the problem is those tones aren't really blended. They're just kind of pasted together. You switch off. You're not sort of a zombie heist action comedy all at once. You're switching off. First you're a zombie movie, then you're a heist movie, then you're a comedy movie. It's not seamless with Zack Snyder. He's just kind of
let me just talk about my opinion on Zack Snyder as a director really quick. I love his ideas. I truly do. I think this guy has great and even unique ideas. Like with this movie, it actually had something that I've never seen in zombies before. The problem is with a lot of his ideas, they're executed so poorly, and like all of you were saying, he tries to plaster more ideas into one film than he's able to handle a lot of the time. I feel like again, I love his ideas. It's the execution. He executes these ideas very very poorly. But
I'll never forget the interview where he talks about his favorite comics, which were basically Heavy Metal and Watchmen, and he was basically saying, yeah, I like Watchmen because it's violent and people fuck in it. Like that's literally what like the funny thing like another thing I want to point about Zack Snyder, and just to go off what Van Proxy was saying and what I was saying earlier about the problematic aspect of his movies, like he's supposed to be like he considers himself far left, like he's liberal. But what was interesting going through some of his bio, that he wanted to adapt a book called The Fountainhead, which is a very famous book by Ayn Rand, and it's like, and the far right love Ayn Rand, but and a lot of her work is very problematic. But but that's what I mean by taking problematic stories and adapting them and not understanding why it's problematic, just understanding that certain scenes just look cool. It's just all like how they're framed and stuff. But that's my 2 cents.
Again, I'm not sure if he's like actually trying to like appeal to that demographic.
Yeah,
and it actually isn't uncommon for like someone's like political views to like not be in line with what their work is. Like if you look at something like
if you can recontextualize it creatively as a director, then
you want to know what made me respect?
Hang on. Sorry, but Phantom, what were you gonna say? Look at something like what?
Oh, like something like John Wayne's films. Like John Wayne was I think it was like John Wayne was very like far, well not far right, but he was very
conservative.
He was very conservative, but his movies still actually had like really progressive like ideas in it. Like a lot of the time, like the female characters weren't just there to like be like just to support the male. They actually had like an actual purpose to the story.
I don't know. You seen The Searchers? Have you seen The Green Beret? Maybe.
No, I've seen some. No, but I've seen some movies at college in my film class, and even my professor, who is actually a feminist, even said, "Yeah, this is actually like surprisingly progressive." So you can't just judge by like one movie or so. You gotta
I'm not judging him by one movie. And what I was gonna say, what made me respect Zack Snyder a little bit more. So I don't know if you guys know, but there is a YouTube channel named Geeks and Gamers, and Geeks and Gamer is they're very like far right wing gatekeeping community, and they like to spout a bunch of bullshit about leftist agendas in comics and nerd culture and Star Wars and stuff like that. And what made me respect Zack Snyder a whole lot more is that when Geeks and Gamers invited him on to do their live stream charity during the premiere of the Justice League cut, he denounced them. He basically said he does not want to be associated with them because all they do is fuel hate. And the guy that does Geek and Gamer was so butthurt in that he felt betrayed. I thought that was awesome, and that just I still don't think Zack is a great director, but I respect him 20% more. That's my thing. But
he does always mean well in both his art and his personal life. But
yeah,
I mean,
I don't think his intent was to like ever like appeal to like that crowd. Because again, it can happen. Like sometimes you might make something that accidentally appeals to something to like a specific group.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying.
That does happen.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's just like the way I don't think he means to do it. It's just the way certain things are framed, how he frames certain things in his movies come off as that way, and it could be taken the wrong way, which also brings into my point that he's only thinking visually about the movie and not deeper into the story.
I don't know if everything anyone does is ever politically motivated by whether they're leaning right or left.
But I mean, in general,
I'm not sure if that really applies in this
zombie movie or a heist movie. I
just Lorax is supposed to appeal to teenage girls
because it wasn't well thought out. The characters themselves were very bland.
Exactly.
You had the guy with the buzzsaw, you have the family man, you have the TikToker influencer guy, you have Honey German safecracker, you have the daughter as a supporting role, but she's like, overly moral and it gets her into trouble. You have the inside guy who's working for like, the billionaire.
Yeah, they've got all the check marks for the heist movie.
Actually,
and also kind of lumped in with the check marks for the zombie movie for all the character archetypes.
And I'm not giving him an extra 20% here or there based on any of that. I just thought it was. I'd probably give it a 4 out of 10.
Honestly, I did not care how most of these characters died because they're not interesting enough for me to care, and I just knew how most of them was gonna die. Like when the head of the movie reminded me a lot of James Cameron Aliens. Like you have the one character, the first what's her name with the bandana that remind me of so much like Vasquez from Alien, and she even died the same way as Vasquez. And like I just like there's just
the one that was with the influencer.
Yeah, and she even died and like even the security guy just reminded me of Burks from Alien. I didn't even remember his name. I just kept calling him Burks from Alien because that's the only way I was gonna remember.
Oh my god.
When he gets attacked by the tiger, that shit goes on. I mean, yeah, it's just like I know you have a name, but all I can think of, you're just Burke. You literally have the same plan of Burke from Alien.
So one thing I want to, since we're talking about Chambers, thankfully, and you brought her name up, at the very start of the movie, when they were in the, the plane silo thing, whatever that, the hangar.
They made sure plan.
They
She
made
never killed a zombie
zombies,
before.
and then we get to the scene where the
And she's a
obviously bad
badass.
guy just throws her in the wrong way, and here she
Right.
is being a badass, shooting and killing all these zombies. So now Zach has sacrificed her character and the potential understanding of this is what a zombie is, this is what it does, and her going through the motions of this is real to the spectacle of she's killing things when Zach is basically not even sticking to a canon that he's making. He's set his
Right.
own rules and he isn't following them. And it's not good movie making to set rules and to not have these rules be consistent. Because then at what
Exactly.
point are any rules you're ever going to establish be relevant to the movie?
Yeah, that's a problem with a lot of a lot of forms of like storytelling. Like if
Yeah.
your rules are like broke, if you break your own rules, then no one's gonna take it seriously anymore.
I know too many shows that do that, and yeah, they just constantly they have these set rules, they have set rules, and even when it comes to lore building, it's gonna break those rules and just completely, or it's gonna completely just retcon something in the lore for something else.
Like for example, if you guys remember at the prologue of this movie, there's like the fucking UFO that's flying around in Las Vegas, and it's like, oh, what was, and it's, I guess it's trying to imply that would cause the dead to rise, but like it's never mentioned again, and it's like it felt like it had nothing to do with the rest of the movie. Like, dude, if you're gonna put things in your movie, don't put them in there because it's cool. Make it make sense.
Yeah, no. In fact, there's actually a very
Yeah,
there's
the
actually a very
problem-
good quote about that, saying like if there's a shotgun in your scene and you don't use it in the next and you never use it, don't draw that shotgun or whatever.
Isn't that called Chekhov's
An,
gun?
an
It is
adaptation
You're
of that.
correct. It is called Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, check
Yeah.
out the
Oh, okay.
So
But I didn't
Or
think that's
Vanderhoof's buzzsaw.
I think so.
Zach?
I mean, thankfully, Zach, in this sense, does have a Chekhov's gun in the film, and it's the tiger. And I want to talk about that real quick.
Actually, yeah, I wanted to bring up the tiger too. Can we
So,
just bring? Yeah, you go ahead, Bailey.
so we're introduced to the tiger in a very, stereotypical jumps on a car, zoom in, great, it's gone. It's standing in front of these characters, right? It can see them, it could easily attack them, but it doesn't. It just goes away because I'm a fucking tiger. I do what I want. That's there's no reason. Now, later on, we have Mr. Military, who's first off, that's another thing I'm gonna get into when we eventually get to it. I want to talk about, but that's Mr. Military needs his own piece. But Mr. Military comes out of the building, right?
Right.
And there's the tiger, and now it's attacking them. Okay, so why is it that now it's
Right.
attacking him, but didn't try and attack the group earlier? It would have made sense if the queen zombie was with the tiger, stopped it from attacking them. That would have made sense. But now, even with this argument that we've talked about, that virus obviously, depending on who bites you, it's going to mutate you in some way where you retain your intellect. But it's a tiger. The tigers don't have higher forms of thinking, as far as we know, like humans do.
Mhm.
Now, this random thing that Zack Snyder's put in, his Chekhov's gun, is being used in a way that otherwise is just for spectacle. And do you know what? I have another question for you guys.
Mm.
When they're trying to get out of the hotel and trying to get to the roof, and all the zombies are going after them, where's the tiger?
Is that actually? Can I? There's one more
Holy
thing I want to
shit.
bring up with the tiger.
Seeing Undead
God.
now.
There's another thing I want to bring up about the tiger. I swear to God, that is the third fucking time I watched something that was apocalypse related. That's a fucking tiger. That is no, seriously. I've been recently watching Sweet Tooth on Netflix, which is about the apocalypse. If you guys haven't seen it, it's awesome. But Sweet Tooth had a fucking tiger in the apocalypse. The Walking Dead. I don't watch the show. I read the comics. So I don't give a fuck. There's a tiger in the show, and that's also a zombie apocalypse. Why a tiger? It's not even a creepy looking tiger. It's a version of the zombie bear from Annihilation.
I usually see dogs.
I think if anything, tigers are associated with power and wealth
Yeah.
because the stereotypical. I think too, since it's a white tiger, it's supposed
Right.
to be like an oddity. And I don't even know if Las Vegas has a zoo with a white tiger.
No, because they
They said it was
famously they used to have that duel, and they brought that up in the movie. Las Vegas used to have forgot what they're called, Sigmund and Roy or some shit like that. They used to have like a super famous tiger show.
So
Yeah,
he does establish it that it is there, and it
Yeah.
isn't just for the sake of being cool.
Yeah,
All right, good. At
Yeah,
least
it's
he did that
purposeful.
right.
yeah.
I mean, it's just I like Dave Bautista. His works are great whenever he's in. He's Guardian of the Galaxy role as Drax is hilarious, and it's
Oh,
really
yeah.
off kilter for him. So when I feel like he's coming back onto this role where he should otherwise, where he is, as far as I can concerned, the main character, Zack Snyder has thrown in so many other people that we have too many cooks in the kitchen, and there are scenes where Coyote or another person will be talking, and Dave Bautista is relegated to just moving his eyebrows and not even speaking at all. He's the main
Exactly.
character. I want to hear his opinions. Not only that, but again, Zack Snyder sacrifices Dave's motive and raison d'etre with his daughter. From the beginning, it's obvious that Dave loves his daughter. He wants to make sure that she's safe.
Yeah.
And she doesn't
Right.
want her going in. Now, that's his character. 5-minute talks later, she's coming with them. Just there is no back. It isn't she has to sneak in and they run into her. It is okay, sure. They're sacrificing that because Zack Snyder needs her for the scene where she goes to fight the main guy and go fight the security guard because that's a setup storyline apparently. And then so that Dave Bautista can run into the hotel and heroically save them with a grenade launcher so we can get big boom boom. It's really sad because Zack Snyder had the opportunity to flesh these characters out, but
Right.
the beginning too with Mr. Blowjob, there is no character drive.
Needed to pay off.
There's no character drive behind what happened. There was nobody pushing anything forward that if they replaced Mr. Blowjob with a military group or some people that know about this and want to take it for themselves, that'd be more appropriate than just it's a coincidence. Because in the end, this movie is built upon a random coincidence in the desert.
Speaking of
well, maybe hold on. Maybe Mrs. Blowjob was a Russian agent, and this was all intended.
Well, I guess we'll never know because Zack Snyder apparently has
the desert, disrupt a military convoy carrying a deadly virus, send America into complete distress. You could have made a perfect screwball comedy zombie movie from that premise.
And it would have given some character a motivation, because Lord knows Zack isn't giving any of them a single thing.
Speaking of
he gives the motivation, but doesn't do anything with it. Their motivations all stay the same.
Speaking of Dave Bautista's daughter, she suffers from a trope that I hate. She suffered from something that I like to call stupid teen kid horror movie character syndrome, where basically the plot, where basically she goes off and do her own thing that she knows is going to get her killed. And, you could have just cut the daughter out in the movie. The subplot was just dedicated to go rescue that mom. You could have just cut that whole thing. And at the end, spoiler.
I babysit her kids sometimes. I have to go in and save her.
But at the end, it's like the mom was called Greta, as I remember. But at the end, Greta died. So Greta died as she lived, wasting my time.
See, I don't have that much to say about these characters because honestly, none of them were that interesting to me. I mean,
it makes sense some have to die, so some can afford to not be that interesting. If you want to, and I mean, we get a sense that the danger is real because so many characters die, clearly. So in a
But
sense,
if we
why
aren't
does
fleshing out these
everybody? Yeah. Why does
if we aren't
everyone
fleshing
have
out
to
these
die?
characters, then
Then
what
there's
makes
no
them any
point.
different from a random grunt?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually,
Like, okay,
Like-
see, what I would have said, what I would have done is I would have had the more experienced characters survive. So, like a Dave Bautista's character, whatever that chick was called, the French girl, Buzzsaw Man, and I almost said Chainsaw Man, Buzzsaw Man, and
The
make
helicopter.
Buzzsaw Man.
yeah, and the
use his
helicopter chick
buzzsaw.
too, huh?
Make Buzzsaw Man use his buzzsaw, or
Why
Yeah, he
didn't he ever
does.
use his buzzsaw?
just
He
make
does.
He never
No, he
did.
Buzzsaw
does.
Man the hero. I honestly think Omari Hardwick could easily have carried this movie instead of Bautista. Like if they either switch places, or if they just cut Bautista out. Because while I also love his work, he couldn't carry this movie emotionally. Like action wise, we know he's a martial artist. He's an incredible person to have in an action movie, but as the emotional rock, he just didn't fulfill his role.
Yeah.
And I think Omari Hardwick, he's got the potentially amazing zombie killing weapon that's sort of his thing. Don't ever touch my saw that I'm not gonna use.
Yeah. Oh God. I hate that
Another
he-
thing I am curious.
Also,
How do
This movie is a
people-
Joke around
freaking train
occasionally
wreck.
with Dieter and this guy. He
I
had
am curious.
chemistry with
If
this
you
other
have a
character.
saw, and you're like, if you have a buzzsaw and you're cutting into zombies like all around you, would you not think that someone getting your eyes, nose, mouth, like somewhere on you, like at least a drop of blood, would that not affect you in some way?
Well,
And
we
he's
don't
pretty
we don't
low.
know how the virus transmission is because Zack Snyder doesn't decide to go through that because he just goes zombies, fucking
That's-
bite.
Oh
that-
my
True.
god.
That's true. But in 28 days later, a
Right.
guy looks up and there's like a bloody thing. A single drop gets in his eye, and then he immediately starts to turn.
And you know what
Yeah.
you know what the best part about that scene is too? The thing about the difference with that scene in 28 Days Later and with this is that single drop of blood alone, a single drop going into his eye, caused the virus to transmit. And it's something like that you don't really think about. And now the director of that movie has established that not only is the bite bad, but even a tiny little drop can get you infected. And it opens up a
Damn.
whole entire new world of danger to the characters.
Also, just some really good ideas that was just left on the floor. Like I think we brought up earlier about the zombie that could come back to life through the rain.
Wait a
Like,
yeah,
minute.
that
Oh
could've-
my!
that could've-
I always forget
that
about
could've-
those.
That could have worked because that could have been an interesting obstacle for the characters near the end. Not a
Yeah.
nuclear bomb.
Why didn't they do that?
Also, like
the whole-
zombies hibernating. That's another thing. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But it's only for like one scene.
Tell
Yeah,
us
'cause it's
why
for the-
they're
it's for the
hibernating. Did
spectacle.
they not
See, here's the thing. They would have been able to do that if they just didn't, spend the budget on the tiger.
This.
Yeah.
And again,
This
it's already been
movie
two
could have been
apocalyptic movies
great.
with
Like I
Tiger.
feel like this movie could have been a really, really, really great movie, and not even about the characters, but it could have been more about the zombies. Like it could have
I
been.
was actually about to say, like, I think what they should have done was cut down on the beginning, because the beginning, again, the human characters don't really. Also, actually, can I say another thing actually that I just realized?
Sure.
Like, this is supposed to be like a zombie apocalyptic world, yet when you look at the human world, it seems okay. Like, it seems perfectly fine.
I think it was only. I think that if I remember correctly, the contamination was only in Vegas or the nearing
Okay.
parts of Nevada.
They're
Yeah.
just on the cusp of an apocalypse, is the
Yeah.
point.
Okay.
Like-
That makes sense then.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, but like I feel like the human part just isn't that. Like,
It's.
we really don't care. And
The
like
zombies have
like,
more personality
like a
than the
Greta
people.
story, like
They do though. They really do. They really do.
I mean, yeah, I like the idea of the zombie civilization.
Yes.
It kind
Yeah.
of reminds me a lot of
was-
the famous book I Am Legend, which you might know as the Will Smith movie.
Uh,
But,
Yeah.
with which also has a similar vampire civilization. The main zombie, the leader zombie, kind of remind me of like the famous Frank Frazetta painting, The Death Dealer. I like that idea that the zombies have some sentience. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen that idea done before, like George Romero's Land of the Dead, where the zombies are creeping up to the castle and stuff like that.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought
I mean,
that was.
like to mention, like if you really look at the origins of zombies, like zombies originate from black voodoo magic as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of like makes a bit of sense, like that. Yeah, this is like a tribal thing, and I really like that.
Yeah, that was
So
cool.
I took a zombie class back in college, like a long time ago, and that's like, and again, like they were originated from like black voodoo magic and also like cannibalism.
What college did you go to?
But like what I don't understand is going back to what you were saying about going back to what Phantom and X-Men, what you guys were saying about the civilization. Now again, this is coming from someone, I haven't played a lot of zombie movies, but I know zombie stories. What they could have done, I have never seen a zombie story with a zombie civilization. This is new to me. You know what I mean? Where the zombies actually have their own culture and, like I said, their actual own language, sort of.
If you watch George Romero's Land of the Dead, which was with Dennis Hopper and John Leguizamo, it's one of his later zombie movies. There is a whole subplot where the zombies are regaining their own sentience, and like they're trying to storm. Like they start to develop their own culture, and they're trying to storm like the the fortified village.
Well, there you go. So basically, so it's done better in that movie.
I mean, no, it's not. It's a similar idea. It's just that's what it reminded me of a little bit.
Oh, okay. But going back to what you were saying, Phantom, about zombies originating from voodoo magic, they could have done something like that too. Like they could have been trying to create more and more and more and more zombies, or to those that they deem unworthy, just have those people or animals or whatever as food.
And I mean, again, it's been done with like I said, it's been done with the book I Am Legend, which been adapted to a movie at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So there are all other adaptations of zombies, like The Girl with All the Gifts. That one, they're basically, or there's some that are kind of mindless, and they only move towards like sound and people screaming or running away. They can sense those things and then they chase after it like a lizard or like a predatory lizard. And then you have in that movie these young children that turn out to be undead. They're harvested from like the wombs of zombies, and they're fully functional as people. It's just that they're uncontrollable when it comes to like blood. They like immediately start to attack you like a cannibal. And you do have you have your stupid zombies and your intelligent ones. What I do know is if we just we'll just take a minute to talk about like the origins of zombies. I think someone told me a while ago, like if you look at rabies, whether it's from a squirrel or a dog, when contracted in like people, they begin to, after a couple days, fear water, and they also like want to bite people, and that's probably how people got the idea of zombies or cannibalism or something like that.
Probably.
Well, like when you look at the history of zombie, well, I mean, the zombie comes from the Caribbean voodoo legends, and basically the legend from there, I'm kind of paraphrasing it, but zombies were the undead that was used to be like slaves for the voodoo master. George Romero, when he did Night of the Living Dead, he didn't really want to do, because Night of the Living Dead was the first introduction of the flesh-eating zombie type, because other movies before then, like Bela Lugosi's White Zombie and a few movies like that, where the zombie were more akin to the Caribbean legend. This is when, because again, I keep going back to I Am Legend, but George Romero was also influenced by I Am Legend, and even though that's with vampires, he just switched that whole flesh-eating thing with the vampire to zombies.
See, this is why George Romero is like considered the great grandfather of zombies. At least zombies as we know them today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warm bodies.
Yeah.
I gotta
Another
watch
thing
that movie, actually, but I heard it's
Well,
good.
you need diversity in love movies, you know? What a thing for the undead? The necrophiliacs out there.
Necrophilia.
Another thing I just want to bring up, because I brought up like how the movie is too fucking long, is just like there's just scenes that just goes on forever
Oh,
in this movie.
Jesus
Like
Christ.
when the security guy gets shot and brought into the zombies head like place, it takes such a long time for them to turn him into a zombie. Like just get on with it. Or when Burke or the Burke guy from Alien, yeah, I know his name isn't Burke, but that's the only way I'm gonna remember him. When he gets attacked by the tiger, that shit goes on for a minute. And like any other movie, when a monster is about to eat that guy that deserves it, that should just be just one take and that's it.
I don't know why it took them so
It was
long
a
to
good
film that one shot first off, but also I'm going back to the zombies eating the security guy. Even if that scene did go on maybe for a little too long, it was definitely the scene that interested me the most in the entire movie.
Mhm.
I found that scene to be the most. I think that might be my two favorite scenes in the entire movie are that scene and that scene where the king, he's furious because his queen and his baby just died. But what I love about that is he dons his metal mask so they can't shoot him in the head. I thought
Right.
that was fantastic. Like I said, this
He's aware
movie
of its
has
own weakness.
huh?
We've never seen a zombie be aware of their own weakness before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. So it's like, nope, I don't know anyone who has ever seen that before this movie. So if that was Snyder's idea, or one of his ideas at least, again, too many ideas. Too many ideas. He put all his eggs in one basket. Why not make these separate movies, maybe?
Well,
How about
Look,
that?
these eggs.
well, Ram Proxy.
Just take one of the
your
eggs from the basket and cook it into a
Well,
nice, delicious omelet for all of us to enjoy.
Thank you.
Well, Ram Proxy,
Yeah.
you're just in luck because Netflix had just announced that this movie is going to be a franchise. There's gonna be a prequel coming out later this year.
I don't want
and
a
there is gonna
prequel to
be,
this
and
movie.
there is
I don't
gonna
want
wait,
anything.
hold on. And there is gonna be an Army of the Dead too. So there's that. Are you guys hyped for that?
No,
Are you guys
Well,
really
okay,
excited?
no, I'm
characters
not
that
ready. I'm not ready.
Are you guys really excited for Army of the Dead 2, the widely anticipated sequel to this Army of the Dead?
I'm widely anticipating how much I'm gonna shit on it. That's what I'm anticipating.
Maybe they will answer some important questions.
No. They
Yeah.
I don't
No.
think so. I don't think
Well,
Yeah.
all the characters that we didn't care about are dead, so maybe they can give us some characters we do care about.
I doubt it.
Right. I mean, for
Maybe
me,
they'll get. Maybe a character will have a chainsaw that he really likes, that he uses to kill some zombies in the opening montage of this movie, and then.
He can be the brother of Buzzsaw guy.
Yeah.
Chainsaw
guy.
they would do something like that. Oh my god.
Chainsaw
Oh.
man. Oh my
I
god.
think what makes this movie I think what makes this movie what makes this movie stand out a little bit is because when the zombie craze started back in the early 2010s, I feel like this movie would have just blended in like stuff with the other zombie movies like World War Z. But now that the zombie craze pretty much fizzled out, this one managed to stand out a little bit. So I guess, it's good for that one to kind of wait it out. Overall, it's still not an amazing movie. It's still a pretty straightforward zombie flick. Honestly, most zombie movies and I like the Walking Dead comic, but like most zombie media are pretty straightforward and not and not super engaging. There's some that stand out, but not a lot, especially in the 21st century.
I
Like,
think actually one of the characters in the movie was also in World War Z.
oh really?
Really?
I don't remember her name. I think it might have been the daughter actually.
Oh what?
Oh wow.
It must have been like a kid when that movie
Yeah.
was made.
Damn.
You know,
I mean, what's a kid?
speaking
Yeah.
of the daughter, I do enjoy how Zack Snyder doesn't understand how nuclear missiles work. And both she and Buzzsaw walk away, absorbing all of this
Yeah.
radiation in the air, and they're perfect. Well, one of them's not perfectly fine. The other one's just great. A helicopter crash can't do it. A nuclear bomb can't do it. A zombie apocalypse can't do it. I honestly don't even know why Zack Snyder made Dave Bautista's motivation being protecting his daughter if his daughter can't fucking die from the weapons of mass destruction. I mean, goddamn, this woman just
He can
walking
call
off
the
into the
rash decision.
sunset, just like, oh yeah, just another casual Saturday. Now let me get back to this kid. Oh, wait one minute. Where's the mother? The mother that the
She's-
daughter had a hard on for. Where did she go?
Dead, I
She-
think.
I think dead. Yeah.
I think
Wait,
she
I
died.
remember-
Not even showed dead, just assumed.
Can you?
We don't even.
Oh,
see
so
the
we don't know
helicopter.
if she's. Oh wow.
Wait, because we have the helicopter pilot got impaled by her own helicopter blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bautista got bit. We have Superman doing Superman things. And was she even? I think she was in the helicopter. But even if she was in the helicopter, what about the two other girls?
Right.
Well,
Their character didn't matter that much, so they just got left in the newer.
I mean, yeah, but you can't just do that.
well,
This is Superman's motivation, and then if she just goes, "Oh yeah, well I got the one, you two, sit." It kind of just
one of
ruins
them got
it.
bitten right as she rescued her. The other one I think got taken by the leader. I think I don't remember.
I'd have to rewatch the ending.
Oh
'cause
yeah,
honestly,
one of them was taken by the zombie leader.
Yeah, and one of them got bitten by the zombified
By the
security.
yeah.
Okay, good. I honestly, once Dave Bautista just shot the grenade into the hallway, my brain kind of just turned off until the nuclear explosion and Superman coming out of a helicopter crash. A-okay.
Until the bigger boom came.
Superman.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, listen. Also, Buzzsaw. If Indiana Jones can survive nuclear holocaust in a fucking refrigerator, I guess Buzzsaw can too in a saw. Not a saw. I'm sorry, in a safe.
Saw. He was
Also-
inside of a saw.
Also,
And I
at
guess
what point did Buzzsaw? When did he get bit?
So
What? And
Yeah,
he wore
That's a good
sleeveless
question.
shirts.
so I actually
So one of those would have seen, a massive bloody bite on his arm.
Oh shit, you're right. But one thing that I did notice actually was so do you remember when they had the king biting Buzzsaw Man in slow motion, and then the German guy Diet or whatever his name is saves
Dieter.
him. Dieter,
Dieter
thank you.
saves him.
And Dieter saves him. Well, it turns out Dieter didn't save him from jack shit. So you know what Dieter died for?
Nothing.
Nothing.
he killed a
Jesus.
perfectly quirky German sidekick for no reason.
This movie is so riddled with so many problems, yet it has so much potential, but I don't even want it to be remade. I just want it to fade into obscurity. I don't want a prequel. I don't want a sequel. I don't want anything. I just want this movie to die. It has good ideas. It has great ideas. It has ideas that I haven't seen before that are extremely unique. But besides that, everything else is a problem. And a lot of the other things is, you know what? How about Zack Snyder completely throw away this movie and, like Ronan said, cook one egg at a time?
Speaking of someone brought up the slow motion scene. I kind of noticed that there was like at least only one or two slow motion scenes in this movie, and like if you guys seen all the other Zack Snyder film, you know he loves slow motion, but there was really not a lot of slow motion in this. I feel like because slow motion became like the one visual trope of Zack Snyder film that everybody noticed, and it was like the one thing that everybody had made fun of him for that, and I guess he really just didn't want to do it this time.
No, he did. He just made the
Yeah,
movie too fucking long.
right.
So that was the slow motion. It's a trick, actually.
What? It's macro slow motion. You're right.
Yeah. He's pulling out his master's degree in finance and switching micro with an A.
My lord, oh my god.
There's just so much about this movie that it had potential.
Yeah,
It had too much. Zack
it just
Snyder,
needs.
I watched. There's a fantastic YouTuber by the name of Phil Mento who goes and talks about movies like this. That's like his job, and it's very in-depth look. And Phil Mento, he notes that Zack Snyder considered this movie as a checklist of things to do. There was
Right.
no coherent story. It was a checklist of we have the tiger, we have explosion scenes, we have the tiger killing someone, and it doesn't follow really any logical story. More so than Zach was given money, allowed to do what he wanted, and then he pulled up Googled what are cool scenes in movies, and then used those as references for this one, which is why we don't have a consistent story.
I feel like that's the thing that a lot of creators on Netflix, a lot of directors who get the go ahead for various of Netflix film projects, they have an idea, Netflix let them just do whatever they want with it. That's like with another Netflix movie I feel like that suffered a similar problem with Malcolm and Marie, which was with Zendaya and Denzel Washington's son. And the premise of the movie sounds cool, but the execution is so not impressive. Like it's just an hour and a half long argument that doesn't really do anything. And like when you look at the making of that movie, the guy who directed it, Sam Livingston, like he was just then him and Zendaya just had a couple of ideas and just went to go ahead of this movie. But I think that's also the same thing with Army of the Dead.
I mean,
Too many concepts that weren't followed through.
It's just sad because we know Zack Snyder, when he really, turns off his childlike sense of wonder and glee, can make these bomb movies like 300.
Or his teenage edginess.
Or he's just, I think especially nowadays, Zack Snyder's kind of a phenomenon in and of itself, since he's like the screw big company guy. And he's riding that for all it's worth, which is why he's making these movies and getting these deals.
See, what I notice about Zack Snyder is he's a bit of a, at least in my experience, kind of a hit or a miss when it comes to movies. I feel like, at least from the movies that I've watched, it's more miss than hit, really. I mean, 300 was great. I really loved 300. Batman v Superman, go into that as well. Like, the first half of the movie was boring as despite what others think of the second half of the movie, though, as soon as that Batman versus Superman fight starts, and I know everyone here is going to disagree with me.
You mean that whole 8 minutes where Batman's just kicking the shit out of Superman?
I enjoyed the fight thoroughly, and I recently just rewatched it, and I still enjoyed it. With your criticisms in mind, I still very much enjoyed the fight.
Yeah, while it's going, it's great. But when, like this movie, it's crammed. That goodness is crammed in with all these other ideas that are only cooked halfway.
That's like my biggest problem with Batman v Superman is like it's the first half of the movie that's really good, and then the latter half of the movie is like this should have been the beginning of the movie. That's how I felt. Like everything in the latter half of the movie I was happy with. When it came to Batman v Superman, but we're not talking about Batman v Superman. Yeah. Going back to Army of the Dead real quick. And another thing, just going over zombies in general. Yeah, like you said, Bailey, this was just a checklist. This whole movie was a big, fat, 2.5 hour long checklist. That's what it was. And also, yeah, this movie, because the thing is, this movie had so much fluff that oh my, the amount of fluff, the amount of useless fluff in this movie. Why are we looking at the going back again? And I know I'm repeating myself, and I'm sorry, but why are we looking at this human society in a zombie apocalypse flick that we have seen over and over and over and over and over and over again, when we have this culture of zombies, this unique idea for zombies that has never been seen before, the decaying zombies that fried in the sun. Why didn't they? And I forgot about those, by the way, until someone brought that up. I completely forgot about those, um, because they're never touched upon again. They're just like, oh yeah, zombies decay in the sun because they're not smart. Here they are. Oh, but in the rain, they'll come back again. Why not just have that be foreshadowing for a future event or something? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, that's not even. I can't even call that bad foreshadowing. That's just foreshadowing for nothing. It's like that, or at least that's how it feels to me. Now, okay. See, one thing that I'm not gonna do is criticize foreshadowing too hard. Is because foreshadowing is really hard. It's very hard, but
And necessary.
Exactly. But
the problem is, you put this again, once again, that that
Oh, hold on, wait. I just have one. I have one dumb question. So Vegas is in a desert, right?
Yeah.
Does it rain there?
I think it has a hot season and a wet season.
It can rain. California is also classified as a desert, but it can suffer
Yeah.
from really bad rainstorms. But it's rare.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I guess it wouldn't. I mean, why would they even bring up? Oh, they come back to life when it rains.
If it doesn't happen, if
Yeah,
it doesn't happen, oh, it's Zack Snyder. He's being
It's
quirky.
weather check.
It's like we're in Hawaii,
They don't
and
have
it's like the dead come back to life if it snows in Hawaii.
Actually, there's an example of Chekhov's gun that we didn't even talk about. He
Yeah.
says, Coyote says, when it rains, it's gonna bring him back. Never rains.
Yeah.
So we never get to see the sprawling, massive hordes of zombies because, well, he forgot.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Distracted with the humans.
I guess the last thing I'm gonna really
He just
say
needs
about
focus.
this, I guess the last thing I'm gonna really say about the movie is, I will say, and this is not because I like the movie at all, or that I like Zack Snyder's film at all, because I'm really not a fan of his work. I will say this is of Zack Snyder, just of Zack Snyder's movie. This is maybe my third favorite. The other being 300, and a tie between Justice League and Man of Steel. Everything else is garbage.
yeah, see, Man of Steel is another one that I have problems with, but there were aspects of Man of Steel that I loved. Like, there were aspects of Man of Steel that I thought were fantastic.
All his films are kind of a mixed bag, and some of them have a higher to lower balance of good and bad decisions, I feel like.
No,
it's never a clean, all good or all terrible flick with him. You get a little bit of both.
Wait.
So at least you can count on his movies to have something good about them in all of them.
Even with this terrible movie, there is something memeable, granted, but something I haven't seen before at the very least.